Do you think the way the music industry has kind of gone, it has pretty much killed the DJ in that sense?
DJs aren't necessary for the music industry. No one else around me liked it, and they thought it was a weirdo, But I stuck with it and told them to fuck off, So, and even now, no one really likes it, and they can fuck off as well. Yeah.
What we had when we were starting out and doing hip hop and stuff, we didn't have that. You had to literally practice for years and years before you could leave your bedroom, like with any of the elements.
I think a lot of people let themselves down by using buttons when they could be doing something more creative. Yeah.
Name names.
Yeah, go on, name names.
I will name a name. Fuck it, because this person is a world champ. Right. I will name DJ K Swizz.
Yo, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of our Sofa Chat. This time we're going to be talking turntablism. Before I even start anything, I just want to say apologies for having to wear the sunglasses, but I got an eye infection, and you don't want to see what everyone else in this room is seeing, okay? And I'm not trying to be cool. That's not my job. That's DJ Manipulate's job. Look in that camera, bro. That's his job. All right. Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel, click the bell to receive the notifications, like, share, and get involved in the comment section below. So, guys, we're going to start this. Can you please introduce yourselves, starting with yourself?
Toze one. I've done an interview with Blade before, so just go and check that out. That gives my history. All sorts of mad stuff, graffiti, DJing, dancing, all that kind of stuff. But check out my interview on the 521 channel and you'll hear all about that. So that's all I need to say, really.
And your experience in turntablism as well, for anyone who doesn't know, because we didn't really cover that.
Yeah, I mean, I started probably scratching quite late to the game. I've been DJing since about 86 when I started doing my first nights with Jay in Folkestone. Scratching I didn't start until probably the mid-90s.
How about yourself, Kutclass?
Yeah, big up. I'm Kutclass, Super Scratch Sunday, Cut and Paste Records, ex-Cut and Paste Records, should I say. Just Good Beats, DJ, turntablist, beat maker, community maker, and just, like Robin Records.
Manipulate.
Yes.
Oh my God, he done it. I thought you were going to keep it
DJ
on.
Manipulate, representing Scratch Lords and the Community Scratch Collective, the international collective we've got.
Where do we begin with turntablism? Because, it's a long history and so much has changed within what's going on within not just turntablism, within the whole hip-hop scene and everything. So, first thing I want to find out is turntablism. Is hip-hop kind of responsible for turntablism, if you know what I mean? Is that where it kind of emulated from?
Yeah, I think a lot of people would say it's the other way around, right? And it comes from the DJ.
Okay.
Like, that's the history, right? Which is, like, block parties, the DJ, like, looping breaks, and then... Like,
yeah, totally. So
wasn't the MC, like, doing the coke calling shit before, like, the DJ?
But did the DJ exist before the block parties and all that?
Yeah. No, well, hip-hop's the byproduct of the DJ scene, right? Mm-hmm. Like, a lot of the DJ scene, that started in disco, and that's like a 70s thing, really. Like mixing two records, extending records out, like invention of the 12-inch, which was extended breaks for a lot of disco music. And I think, again, I'm repeating history that, like, a lot of people have been repeating, so... But, especially, like, the New York scene came out of had the disco, mixing two records, technology that came with the DJ mixers from the disco scene started coming through... Wasn't called hip hop then. What it was called was spinning the breaks, and it was taking a lot of. Again, they were only going back maybe 10 years. Well, like we when we dig back now, we dig back a lot further to the same period. But it was taking the popular tunes at the time, taking the breaks, looping them up through the new technology that you had with two turntables and a mixer, and from again what we understand. The MC kind of came along a lot later down the line, or a little bit later down the line, where really, you went to for me when I grew up, if I went to just like a mobile DJ, right, they'll be chatting on the mic, get on the dance floor, go get your coats, party's ending in 5 minutes. That's how the MC kind of evolved from the supporting the DJ, and then you get the other elements that come through as well, like the breaking, like that's how you dance to breaks and breaking going together. And then the graph as well, at the same time, springing out of tags. Lots of people tagging, developing the style of tagging, slowly turning into graph. I'm no expert, definitely not an expert in the hip hop scene. A lot of this is repeated knowledge, but from my understanding, there's a lineage here from the disco to spinning the breaks to MCs and comparing the party. MC, that's a compare, right? That's how they started. Rap comes out of all of that, and then you've got graph, and then obviously I missed out beatboxing. I do a lot of shit with the beatboxers in the UK as well. Beatboxing is another thing. Definitely comes from the streets. No, nothing needed, no equipment, just your mouth, and that's how you can get the beats going when you don't have the DJ. All those things come together. They're making up hip hop these days.
Back in the early days, like in the 80s, in the early 80s, mid 80s, everything within the culture almost seemed, well, not almost, it did seem like it was all part of each other. Like everything was part of hip hop. You had your graffiti, your beatboxing, your DJing, your breakdancing, your rhyming, all of that, as he said, right? But nowadays it seems a little bit kind of separated.
I think what happens is people choose their specific thing that they're good at, and then that evolves, and sometimes it can evolve away from the thing it used to be part of. And then if there's not so much popularity in one thing, then the people that are into that part of it have to evolve harder to keep their scene going. And then obviously it sort of drifts away slightly. So, I mean, I don't know about graph. A lot of writers would definitely say that it's not really anything to do with hip hop. It was a simultaneous thing happening at the same time when it started. Some people are into hip hop. Loads of writers aren't. Their thing is writing. So that's one thing. But as far as what's happened to b-boys and what's then is happened to DJs, the people that are into it are really hardcore, whether it's popular or not. Rap seems to have maintained a popularity from the start of it appearing in the mainstream. There's always been at least some rap music in pop music, even if not so much, but it's always been there. Whereas the other things, the people that are into
Wham
it,
rap.
Look
at wham rap.
Yeah, so like the people that are into the other sides of the culture have to maintain it. But by doing that, it goes more underground and I think that's the reason why things go apart. I don't think it's necessarily for a bad thing. It's just that the people that maintain it have to.
So you're obviously a turntablist.
I don't actually use that word. I'm not against it, but
Explain why.
I'm not against the word. I just don't use it for myself. I think I don't know. It probably is because when that word came around, it then became the thing that was scratch DJing was just called that now, and then lots of people use that word if they're just DJing, and it's not. I don't know. It seems a bit convoluted.
So do you think there's a difference between someone who just specifically
No.
scratches
No.
to someone who puts a turntable on their head?
No,
Okay.
no. It's just I personally don't like the word myself. That's all.
What about you?
What about me?
Yeah, what about you? What are you doing here? Jesus Christ, get out.
Every time I come here, all I get is abuse. Honestly, I do not know why I bother.
The truth is, I didn't even know he was coming down. He uninvitedly invited himself in. And he shouldn't be here. So somebody, while we're doing the interview, please call the police.
I was told
I am
there was
okay
gonna be
with the
food.
popo on this occasion.
I was told there was going to be food and drinks. We were given custard cream, biscuit, custard creams, and still water. It's not even fizzy.
All right,
I'm not coming here again, you know.
Well,
Didn't even get paid
And
last
you weren't
time.
invited this time.
Look, we didn't get any money last time. The strippers
And you're not getting
didn't
any
even
this time
turn
either.
up. And all we get is out-of-date biscuits and flat water.
You remember you said you'd done the interview a year or so ago?
Yes.
Right, we bought those biscuits back then and we saved them for you to come back.
I know, I
So you got
recognised
them.
them from last time. That's why I'm not eating them. They're walking around over there, look. They've grown fur, mate. Right, can we talk about turntablism?
let's
For
talk
God's
about
sake, that's why
turntablism.
we're here. These gentlemen have
I
given up
want
their
you to
time
tear shit up.
graciously, and you're talking about biscuits.
But yeah, so your opinion on turntablism, what got you into it in the first place?
When we got into hip hop, it was one of those things where you got into everything. You started off as, you know, if you got into it through robotic dancing, body popping, breaking, whatever, you kind of did everything. And like Jim said, you find your niche and you would follow that, and you would perfect that thing that you were doing. So we kind of started doing a little bit of everything. And I realised I couldn't rap, you know. I didn't have the ability to do DJing because I didn't have turntables or anything. And we started DJing parties in '86 because Jay worked in a hotel and there were decks there, and we used to do discos, and we used to do like electro discos. So that following on from that, we were DJing out at other venues and clubs, and things moved on, and then we started. We got offered to do workshops, DJ workshops for kids, and we thought, well, we can't really just go in there and just teach kids how to play records. So we kind of really need to learn how to DJ properly. We need to learn how to scratch, and we need to learn how to mix, and blah 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 blah. And that's what got us into it, and that was kind of the early '90s. And we just kind of made a concerted effort to, even though, you know, I'd never really done much of it, I thought, right, I've got to learn how to do this. If I'm going to teach other people, I've got to learn it, and I've got to be sort of reasonably all right at it, you know. And I just fell in love with it. It's one of those elements, like with the graffiti, with the popping, and with scratching. I fell in love with it. I can't mix for shit. I'm terrible at it. You know, I don't really consider myself to be a turntablist, but I just love scratching. I love messing around with the records and cutting and just putting tunes on and breaks and doing it, you know, for people live as well when you do gigs. So for me, it's not so much, you know, trying to excel at it or being, you know, I don't want to be DJ Cuba. I don't want to be, you know, Jim. I do it because I love doing it. You know, I'd love to be as good as Jim, obviously. I'd love to be as good as Adam, you know, amazing. But for me, it's just enjoying doing it, and it's part of the culture that we got into. So it's kind of one of those elements that I kind of focused on more as time went on. You know, same with most people, like Jim said, most people in hip hop find their little niche and they move with it.
And where do you think the rapper fits in with the DJ? Like, I mean, obviously I know because I'm from the culture, but for anyone who doesn't know, where does the rapper fit?
I think rappers can fit in anywhere with DJs. It depends if you get on with them and you work together and it works musically. I think obviously when the DJing breaks on stage, rapping over that sort of changed to DAT tapes and then people being sort of producers, I suppose that made a difference. But then when sort of hip hop started and was called that, even with rap, electro was made on machines and they rapped to that anyway. So I'm not really sure, but yeah, as far as I'm concerned, rappers can fit in anywhere they want.
As hip hop music has evolved, we've heard less and less of the DJ in rap records. And that's the reason why I wanted to ask that.
It does exist. It's just it's not so easy to get. Yeah, I mean, like G had the Roughneck, you know, with the stuff he's been doing with Cymatic and everything as well, where and other people where the whole music has been made with scratching, and then like he raps over it, and that so it does exist.
Well, on the mainstream, it's almost like they're trying to cut it out, and DJing isn't important.
Yeah. It's a lot of what we were talking about earlier, which was sort of. Like each of the strands of hip hop have gone off kind of in their own direction and sort of gone into their own little dark caves, niche corners, and rap has done a lot of the same. Or like rap has really delved into a lot of sort of areas that, you know, if from a 90s perspective, you'd have never have thought, right, with electronic beats, electronic music, the way that sort of, you know, rap sounds now. Like, you know, MCing was very much based in the hip hop world. Rap can like go anywhere. I think the interesting thing as a DJ is like it's pretty sad when I go to a rap gig and I see that person hitting their own start button and they don't have a DJ behind and they lose that connection with the crowd because they turned their back on them. Like, you know, that's where the DJ should be helping the MC out, right? They're there to hype the crowd. Like a good DJ, you know, he's not just pressing the button, right? And he's not just doing the scratches on the chorus. He's hyping along with you. He's part of your band. You know, one man has only so much presence. A crew on stage has a lot more presence, and audience members out there are going to connect with different people on that stage. Just like if you go to a gig, not everyone's looking at one person. A lot of people are looking at different people on that stage. And without the DJ, I think you're missing a trick as an MC because you're just not connecting as much as you could be because some people are interested to see what the DJ's doing.
I mean, there's so many times recently where I've seen rappers turning up and they're just basically given a USB stick and they're going, yeah, go with that.
Yep.
You know, do you think by doing that they're kind of killing off one segment of hip hop for? I mean, this is underground artists I'm talking about. They probably can't afford the DJ for the show.
You'd be
or if they can afford, like a lot of them are just rappers and they haven't even thought about the concept of having a DJ because they just get a beat, do a track, and they want to do a show.
It depends how much entertainment you want to put across and how you want to be respected or not, or how much of the show you want to do yourself. I think a lot of that is maybe just like you say, if they don't know a DJ that will do it, or they don't hang around with DJs. So then, and it's easy to just, whoever produces the beats, even if they produce their own beats, it's easy to stick it on now on a USB and do that. But the show isn't going to be quite as an impact as if they do have the DJ as well, like I was saying. So it depends what sort of show they want to do. It might be good enough. They might have that much stage presence that they don't need a DJ. But more often than not, it would be better if they did.
Do you think the way the music industry has kind of gone, it has pretty much killed the DJ in that sense?
DJs aren't necessary for the music industry.
Not anymore.
No, I don't think they ever were that much. It's just that it became popular.
I guess to some of us they were because
it depends what
we
you want,
grew up with it and we used to watch
totally,
people like Cash Money and Jazzy J and whoever, and we used to get excited by that. Like you said, you bring in that entertainment value in.
I mean, turntablism used to be part of the show, right?
Yeah.
Old Run DMC gig, DJ part of the show, Beastie Boys. DJ massively part of this show, like Mixmaster Mike, like sick turntablism and the way you hype a crowd with that. I'm not going to say anyone can spit bars, but like if you're going out and all you're doing, your face is in the mic and you're spitting bars and you're wondering why you've not got a reaction, you haven't thought about your gig properly. Like, I've been to gigs, I've seen that, and these guys, they're decent rappers or they got something to say, but you're not grabbing the crowd right. You throw a show, you're getting people's asses moving. Like you're creating the vibe. You're getting people to listen to you. You're capturing their imagination. They want to come back. They tell their mates they had a good time, and that's how you spread a vibe.
So manipulate. You want to take on from there?
Well, yeah, what Adam was saying to a degree, but more about saying turntablists and scratch DJs and stuff aren't in the mainstream. But it depends what side of the mainstream you look at. Mixmaster Mike was touring with Metallica for like years, and now he's part of Cypress Hill now, but for years he was touring with Metallica. Now, regardless of your opinions on Metallica, whether you like metal or not, that's not really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that Metallica do massive stadium gigs. They're pretty big, as everyone knows. And when Mixmaster Mike does his show, he just does his show. He just busts out loads of fast scratching and this crazy shit that he does that no one else can do. He ain't trying to please the metalheads. He's like, I'm Mixmaster Mike, you're going to fucking listen to this. And everyone goes, wait, all right? So he's going around touring the world in one of the biggest gigs in the world. So really, scratching has reached the top. It's just that there's only room for a couple of people there.
It was, it's been embraced by the rock bands and the rock community because of Starscream and Slipknot and Kid Rock and Scratch DJ.
Totally. Yeah, Sid, he's all Slipknot's gigs. So Sid Wilson's there like scratching, doing his show and scratching the beats and doing hardcore cuts and everything.
Kid Rock does a scratch set in his gigs and stuff like that. So it has transcended, if you want to use that word, hip hop as a genre. If you want to give hip hop a narrow genre, which I try not to, because to me hip hop is lots of different things musically. If you're into hip hop, you can be into electro, you can be into new romantic, you can be into new wave, you can be into metal, you can be into whatever, because all of those things have been integrated into hip hop at some time. So it should be a natural progression that scratching gets incorporated into lots of other genres of music, because it can fit in there, and it has done in the past. So it's kind of, it has risen to the forefront of lots of different arenas, but maybe not so much in hip hop, because hip hop now, if you want to categorize hip hop as rap, is it because of technology? Is it because it's easier now to sit at home with a computer, make your own beats, write your rhymes, go out and put your show on with your USB stick, or practice for hours and hours and hours of getting good at DJing, then going out, finding a mate who's good at rapping, and then the two of you get together, you've got to practice and put a show together, then go out and put on a show. It's not as easy. It's nowadays it's kind of easier to produce and to get something as a product to put on a stage and present, whereas what we had when we were starting out and doing hip hop and stuff, we didn't have that. You had to literally practice for years and years before you could leave your bedroom, like with any of the elements. Graffiti, breaking, popping, robotics, whatever. You had that sort of period where you had to work really hard to get half decent before you could go out and present it to the world. Whereas now you can kind of, with production and things like that on computers, it's not that difficult to create a product. And you know, you can upload it to iTunes, you can upload it to Google
YouTube,
Play or whatever
yeah.
straight away. You know, and it's easy to do now. That kind of, I think, that kind of whatever you want to call it, that dedication, that kind of putting in the work has kind of gone out of it a little bit. And it's easier to make hip hop now than it was, you know, say when we started out. You try making a hip hop record in 1985. You know, how difficult would that have been to do? You know, but nowadays it's you know, you can do it in your bedroom on a computer, upload it to iTunes, boom, and you're away.
You said obviously Metallica. Do you think that is something to do with the age? As in, they were there when hip hop was on the rise with the Run DMCs and all that, so they're fully aware of where the DJs were. I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'm really not sure why or how Mixmaster Mike became their tour DJ, but the only thing I know is like what I said before is that his show isn't like a metal scratch show. He just does what
Yeah,
Mixmaster
so
Mike's
they've
always
given him a
done.
platform.
Yeah, he's got that in his it's yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, right, about connecting, like, the age group of the audience, right, with the people that you put on to support, right? Yeah, I get what you're saying. And that, yeah, it's about exposure, right, which is that audience has been exposed through, like, Metallica or, like you said, Run DMC, and they're probably 70s, 80s babies, right, that have had the exposure, and for them, that was something that maybe they'd seen as a teenager, thought was dope, never thought they'd see live. Boom, it's on a stage right in front of them. And I think you hit a key point, which is exposure throughout the generations, right? Which is, if you look back at, say, maybe me and Jim's generation, when we were teenagers growing up, it was an MC and a DJ, and you kind of looked at that combo and thought, oh, like, I either want to be on the mic or I want to be on the decks. And then as that sort of combo disappeared and you only seen a rapper, well, you know, a generation today is, you know, searching through YouTube, and what are they seeing? They're seeing rappers playing DAT tapes.
DAT tapes?
Well, but yeah, not anymore. God, that just shows how old I am. So,
Yeah.
See, like, or yeah, MP3s, USB sticks, whatever. Yeah, DAT tapes, mad old. Yeah, and they're like, because of that's what they see, then that's what they reflect back, right? You're a reflection of the culture you surround yourself in. And then probably the other point is community as well, and Toze talked about this, which is back in the day, you kind of tried a bit of everything, right? Like, you started off breaking, oh, I can't do that. You start off rapping, I sound whack. Okay, my mate's got some decks, I wasn't too bad. And you kind of had that whole community around it, so it wasn't that hard actually to, like, one mate's the DJ, another mate's the MC, someone else dances, let's put on a show, you bring the crew down to dance while the MC and the DJ's doing their thing. But then generationally, as money's maybe got involved as well, and it's, you know, that was the key turning point really, which is, why would I split? You know, there's two of us on stage, so I split it with two. Why would I split the money with two when I can split it with one? Fuck yeah. So, like, why would I do that? And sort of as that evolved, and then the generations moved on, and that's what they see as the model. They reflect that back. Like, a lot of the stuff that we found in because of this, right? Turntablism isn't really as popular. You know, at one point, turntables outsold electric guitars, and that's saying something. These days, I mean, I'm guessing it's controllers maybe that people are using. But what we found is sort of maybe an older generation that were exposed to this, which is people weren't putting it on a platform, and therefore the generation don't start reflecting that back. They don't know what's dope, you know. Sometimes you got to feed people what's dope, or like capture someone's imagination by putting something in front of them. And so I think at least our generation found that what we started doing was a lot of community work in terms of bringing turntablists, DJs, and anyone that's interested in this kind of thing together, so that you could vibes off each other, and you, like, you know, where you weren't seeing maybe sort of the things you want to see. That a lot of that stuff started happening behind closed doors and people making connections. But then you start thinking again, it's like, well, you know, once we're done, what's going to come after us? And so, you know, maybe like the videos that we're showing now give you an idea of like what turntablists do. Maybe we hit like one or two people that think, oh, this is sick and this is dope, and I've never seen it before. They come to catch like a freestyle MC on your show, or whatever. Never expected to see a turntablist. You know, maybe never even seen turntables that close, because they've never been to a gig where it's been there, and they've never bothered YouTubing it, because why would you if you're not interested in it?
You know what that reminds me of? There was thing I saw on YouTube a while ago where someone had put a phone in front of a couple of kids, an old phone with the
Oh,
dial.
I've seen that. That was funny.
Yeah.
That's it.
And they're like, so my next question is the recognition of the turntable.
Yeah.
Do you think the youth get it? Or is it something that they don't see enough?
I've done teaching with kids. Jim was just talking about
What was their
teaching with
first
kids.
reaction when they saw a
Teaching with
turntable?
kids, when they first see a turntable, they're like, wow, I've only seen one of those on TV. I've never seen one in real life. And even then, that's only a few of them. When you give them a chance to touch a turntable and a record, the physicality of it, they absolutely love. It's even better giving a turntable and a mix to a kid and don't tell them anything and see what they do.
Which is what the guy did with the phone.
That's it.
Yeah.
And there's something inside them, the fit, like connecting the analog and physicality to the sound. It's kind of quite amazing. And then you can instantly see which kids have music inside them and which don't because of the way that they just bring rhythm out. So, I mean, Jim, I don't know what your experience has been like with kids as well. I mean, like in the turntable scene, and not eating them.
Reword
I
that.
do have children.
Reword that.
Jim, I don't know what your experience has been like teaching turntablism to kids.
Some like it, some don't. I mean, to be honest,
turntablism.
like, I'm not really. I don't really care if other people like it or not because I know that some people do. The ones that do carry on with it. When I got into hip hop and stuff when I was a kid, no one else around me liked it, and they thought it was a weirdo, you know. But I stuck with it and told them to fuck off, you know. So, and even now, no one really likes it, and they can fuck off as well. Yeah. I do it because I like doing it, and then other people that like doing it end up we come together and we do our thing, and then if people like it, they like it. I don't think there's any point having politics about it. It's like, you know, and as well, less people that do it, you've got to get good, and that means you'll still be good at it, you know. Yeah. Otherwise, it gets watered down with loads of whack people that aren't very good. If it becomes that popular, it becomes really shit, doesn't it? So, so really, it's like, I mean, as far as teaching kids, sometimes sometimes some kids can get on the decks and you know you've just got the skill. So, and then some kids obviously haven't, they're not that interested. And then some are interested and they're totally rubbish. But like, and the same as grown-ups doing it or anything. Yeah. It's just, there's positive results of that and sometimes not. But really, I'm just into it because I fucking love doing it.
When we started doing what we were doing with the music, we didn't have any aspirations to make money or anything. It was just like, ooh, I love this. And you just got into it. Do you get what I mean? Whereas now, there's so much emphasis on how much money kids are making off of making music and whatever. So do you think that's affected, like, you know, the culture? Do you think that's affected making better music? Has that changed anything?
I think well, of course it has, because it's easier to, like Toze was saying, it's easier to present a product. So that means if that's the case, if there's a market, it's flooded. And you don't know what's good or not if all you can see is all that stuff. So you have to find the good stuff. It's a bit like when you first go to a record shop and you start DJing. It's daunting. You don't know what records you want to buy. The person that works there is a miserable bastard anyway. And you just start looking through them. You start looking through them and you hope that someone will let you know what's good or not. You know the tune you heard. You want to get that one, but you don't know what it's called because you heard it on the radio, no one said, or a pirate station or whatever. So like, it's difficult to sort of gauge all that really properly. But if there's quantity, there's not so much quality. If you know what I mean. I'm trying to explain that, but really badly.
No, that makes sense.
So, and then if you're presenting that, if the only things people are looking at, so say if all the kids are looking at TikTok now, for instance, and YouTube. If they see the first stuff that comes up, which people have paid for more views, so it comes up first, all that stuff, they think that's what that is. So that's representation of a possible culture. Whereas the quality stuff might get the exposure if it's marketable because someone else is trying to make money out of someone else's art. You know, it's that whole thing, isn't it? So it's all watered down, but the good stuff's still there, and it's just that, can you see it or find it? But then you couldn't anyway. Like I said before, you go to a record shop, you didn't know what was there. So.
Well, isn't that what we were doing back in the days? We had to go digging for the good stuff.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So people should, and you've got to do that now, haven't you? But because there's so much, a lot of people don't bother, and a lot of people can't be bothered to look for anything because it's all presented. It's like they don't have to look for anything because it's been thrown at them.
Yeah, but
So I think that might be the reason.
that was also part of the role of the DJ though, as well, wasn't it? Which is to present new music to people. So like Jim said, I heard it on the radio, so then I'm trying to find it in the record shop.
And now everyone's playing the same thing.
Yeah, and it's the algorithm that's feeding them the same stuff. If you like this, then 10 million other people across the world like this too. Boom, go.
Have any of you ever fallen out of love with turntablism?
No. Because
He
it's
laughed, so I'm guessing he has.
I mean, I'd laugh. I'd say every day because it's hard. Like, if you're not getting annoyed and frustrated, you're not pushing yourself hard enough and you're not learning anything. So yeah, I would definitely say there's days where I hate turntablism, and those are the days where I know that I'm working my hardest because I'm.
But just because you were whack, so you got pissed off at the craft.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like I'm practicing, and I'm the hardest. I think most turntablists are the hardest critics of themselves, because like that you're doing it for your own love, right? So you're pushing yourself forward. There's no one else pushing you, right? So like yeah, the days like where I'm maybe like if I'm whack, that's because I'm pushing myself. You know, I'm pushing myself out of a comfort zone. So yeah, there's definitely days where I'm like, man, like I just done the same thing I did for the last fucking 3 months, and it's sucking, and it's and I'm trying to get through. I'm trying to break barriers. And again, it's another thing with the turntablism, which is why there's maybe it's much smaller, because there's going to be horrible times of pain where you just can't do something and you want to jack it in, and you're trying to learn, and you got to like push through it. Like a lot of mates, we talk about plateauing, where you get so far and you're just like, man, I'm stuck. I don't know where to go next. And it's like working out what are the small gains that I can change in what I'm doing so that I can advance myself and break through that barrier and become better.
When you're doing the practicing and whatever, is it just you on your own in the room?
Yeah, I'll practice. I mean, yeah,
So
I
don't-
wouldn't
don't
want
you
anyone
think-
else to suffer that.
Yeah, but don't you think that having someone else there practicing with you is going to elevate both of you?
It's a bit of both, actually, which is, I would say, 100% that elevation definitely comes with working with others, like other creatives that are like your standard, better. Like, you know, even like someone with Jim, when I see Jim on stage, I'm inspired and it pushes me further. When he started cutting, I'm just like, man, do you want to cut together? Because I'm picking up his vibe and it makes me want to push and go further. There's other times where you got to be by yourself, right? You know, like there's certain techniques where you'll like there are techniques like it looks like a DJ scratching and it's absolutely random as hell, but actually there's a huge amount of foundations to what you're doing, and it's not just flailing your arms or your hands around. There's like, you know, like for someone like me and Jim, there's like way more than 10,000 hours behind all of this. Of like I can step behind the decks and I feel like it's an extension of my body because I put that many hours into it. Like I don't have to think a thing about what I'm doing. I just vocalize through the equipment without really, and that comes from like 10,000 hours of practicing and connecting and knowing my instrument just like anyone else is playing an instrument.
You know, sometimes you can spend 5 hours on a phone call to someone, and to everyone else, it'll be like you're 5 hours on a phone call. But that person on that phone call could say one thing that could save you a year.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So couldn't you see that possibly being not a case of them suffering, but you learning off each other and you could pick things up quicker?
Oh yeah, definitely. Look, there's a lot of muscle memory in scratching. There's a lot of repetition. Like it doesn't just cut. Like someone can't say, "Hey, if you just do this, you'll be better." You've got to put your hours in and practice your instrument if you want to connect and know it really well and intimately and perform on stage without. There's so many other things going on stage. The last thing you want to think about is what the fuck am I doing? But then, like I said, connecting with someone like other members of the community bring their own flavor, their own flair, and connecting with those people like. What I do is I run Super Scratch Sunday, which is a community jam for turntablists. We've been doing that for since 2010. 13 years. When we first started doing that, we would go around and we'd show each other techniques, right? We wouldn't practice in front of each other, but we would show what we had, right? And I made it my mission that when I would come to the next session, I would take something that someone showed me and I would learn it and then I would present it back to them. Like, I don't need them to watch me do like however many hours it is of learning what I'm doing for me to then come to bring it back. So connecting in community is definitely important. Like you elevate your skill much higher by being with people that are just as good or better than you. and learning off them and taking those ideas. But when it comes to like, there is no skip in practice in like turntablism, and like if someone says to you, hey, just do that, you know that it's not a case of just doing that unless you're super high level and you can pick things up quick.
Can we move on to the subject of the evolution of turntablism? Because there was a specific point, me as an MC, there was a specific point where I felt that rhyming changed. It went to another level, and that was with Rakim. Yeah, and everything just went boop. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
So what's that point in turntablism?
Yeah, that has happened periodically, and it probably still will. It's often to do with technology, equipment changing, so more things are possible, or just the general practice of people getting better and then things progressing that way. So it's a combination of the two. It happened basically in the mid-90s, and then it happened again in the early 2000s.
Do you want to name some of the DJs that made those changes?
Well, obviously, in the mid-90s, it was the Beat Junkies and the Pickles, Invisible Scratch Pickles, the Beat Junkies, what they started doing with that just raised the bar completely. Hence why they're still legends now and still really top tier. So
yeah, and where do you think people like the Enforcers and your Scratch Perverts and them fit in?
Completely, because that was sort of, well, the Enforcers definitely earlier than that. I mean, even like Hijack, DJ Supreme especially, he influenced like Cuba and that to do the sort of more hardcore, faster scratches, and still his cuts, like Supreme's cuts on like some of the Hijack tracks, are just, you still don't know what the fuck he's doing now. It sounds amazing.
When I talk to certain people, they don't see scratching as turntablism. They just see it as scratching.
Yeah.
Right? So when we talk about turntablism, like, for example, we had you performing earlier on, and you were doing scratching.
Yeah.
But you didn't put the turntable on your nose.
No, I don't want to do that.
But there are DJs that would do that,
They can if they want, but
but what I'm saying is there is, to some people, there is a difference.
If you're going to use the word, understand where it came from. There's two people that argue about who started the word, DJ Babu and DJ Disc. There's this constant beef. I'm not really interested who started the word. They're both.
So do you want to explain what the beef is?
One says they made the word up. The other one says they made the word up. And that's it. Either way, they're both amazing DJs, nice blokes or whatever. But so other people thinking turntablism is one thing. It's actually like two scratchers that invented the word anyway. I mean, it's just using the word, as far as I know, even though I don't like the word much. It's just about describing using the turntable to do things. Yeah. But turntablism, I don't like the word because it sounds like it's a political theory. You get socialism, and you don't get turntablism. People that use that as a turntabler, possibly. Do you get guitarism? Or?
No.
Well, you do from today. Guitarism, new word. And it was invented by DJ Manipulate, just for anyone who knows it. So all you rock guys out there that keep sending me videos, guitarism.
But yeah, so either way, I don't know, scratching is turntablism if you want it to be. It's just basically messing around with a record player, isn't it?
Who would you say was the biggest influence to taking it to that stage of turntablism? I mean, like, for me, I would look and say somebody like Cash Money.
Yeah, I mean, there's been lots of people. DJ Cheese.
Yeah.
Aladdin. It depends Aladdin, that's it. There's so many people. It depends which one you think of at the time.
We talk about the UK, Cupmaster Swift as well.
DJ
all the
Business, Enforcers definitely pushed that. And then the sort of...
Well, even before Enforcers. Cupmaster Swift won in, what, 88?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all that sort of, it's all the people that connected. And so and then Scratch Perverts elevated it by just taking things to a different level that didn't really, some of it took off, but it's more like when they did it, it was smashing everything apart. And then it changed again. Things went more on a musical sort of level. After the 90s, DJ Craze pretty much sort of killed the battle scene because he's better than everyone else. And still, if you watch his routine, the 98 US final routine, the DMC, no one can do that now because no one wants to. It's too difficult. And then he pushed it like that. So then it changed stuff again. But then the underground scratch DJs went more musical. So then it looked towards like Ned Hodding's crew and people like that. And who one of them was like sort of, then you had D Styles doing his stuff that was connected with them as well. And he was in the Pickles anyway, and still is. And he's a Beat Junkies as well. So it's all the same sort of people. But just
and then you had guys who were a bit more abstract, like Tiger Styles.
Well, yeah, that comes from the battle scene as well, though. His whole style of fast attack. And then he went more musical as well when it sort of did that. So, I mean, everyone's got different styles. There's so many people. It's difficult to pinpoint things sometimes.
Who's your favourite DJ?
Me.
Okay. What about you? Just a quick
Yeah,
name.
Jim as well. Now,
Has he threatened you?
I mean, look, it depends. If we're talking DJs, I'm
I've
a
got
big
a few.
fan. I'm a
I've
big
got a
fan of Mr. Thing. I love watching him spin,
Yeah,
and
Mr. Thing is sick.
I love seeing how he incorporates his turntablism into like his DJ sets. If we're talking about like scratcher turntablist, like pure, like not DJ set, but I think D Styles always comes up there as a number one. I think he's a big influence
Yeah,
for a lot of
totally.
people on like on the musical tip of scratching and sort of like what I like the idea of like scratching as jazz and it's an instrument, right, that you get to play. So that can be any music.
I think
What about? Sorry.
Hang on, I ain't finished yet. My favourite DJs are Blam One from Norway,
Okay.
Miyajima from Japan,
Yeah.
DJ D Styles, obviously, and then all the people in my crew and our crew and collective that hardly anyone knows. They're better than most people that are doing stuff. They're my favourite at the moment. Of course, all the famous ones are my favourites as well.
Do you ever see on social media, like I get notifications from time to time and I see like 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds on the turntables.
Yeah.
Some of
there's
them are sick, you know.
Yeah. It was. There's that Japanese girl.
Yeah. Or like DJ Renner, he's he's a world champion. I think DMC world champion.
Yeah.
Like teenager. K-Swizz as well just won IDA championships and DMCs as well. I'm showing my age if I can't remember this stuff.
Do you know who that reminded me of? Just when you said that teenager, DJ Rafik.
Yeah, DJ Rafik's got his own scratch, the Autobahn scratch, so he's leaving like a legend. Like, put his
that
imprint on the
changed
scene.
the rhythm of scratching. That after the sort of the orbit, the 2-click flare thing that was controlling scratching for a lot of time. Then, as well as the scratch pick was invented with scratches, but when Rafik did the Autobahn, that changed a whole sort of swing in the sound of scratching. So
He was sick. I seen.
every now and again, you
him.
get someone that comes along and just goes boom and just puts another little thing going on that spins it off.
Who's your favourite?
DJ Coco from Japan, DJ Ace, crowd motivator from New York, primarily because of what they do musically. Because they've kind of gone back to almost the roots of DJing, and especially DJ Ace, he plays breaks. It's just all breaks. Same with Coco, but he plays breaks that you wouldn't expect to be played.
So your favourite, in all your cases, some of your favourites might be influenced also by the production values rather than just the scratching values.
Yeah.
Okay.
there's all sorts of
Entertainment
things.
value as well. It's like you can put on a DJ Ace video on YouTube when he uploads a set, and it'll be 2 hours of him just playing breaks. And there'll be unusual breaks. There'll be stuff you've never heard of, you know, and you can just listen to it, and it's a cool thing to listen to, and it doesn't necessarily need to be technical. With like he does scratch and stuff like that, but he doesn't. It's not the main focus of what he does. The main focus of what he does is the music that he plays, and that's the reason I listen to him. It's the reason I listen to DJ Coco. If I wanted to watch a scratch video, I'll watch Jim. You know, I'll watch I don't know, Qbert, D Styles. But for me, it's the musicality of it, and the going back to the taking genres of music that shouldn't go together
And putting them
together, and making a set out of it. And for me, going, what's that? What's he playing? What's that? And I've
But
got
that was the excitement that hip hop.
Yeah,
brought
yeah.
along.
And
It
you've
was
got
like, what the hell is that?
and the fun of that is kind of trying to find out what that break was he just played, and then trying to find it, and then getting it for yourself, and then you can play it out, you know. And it's again, it's the inspiration thing. If I want to be inspired by, you know, going out and playing a set, I'll listen to Coco. If I want to be inspired to go and cut and scratch, I'll listen to Adam, I'll listen to Jim, I'll listen to Cymatic, I'll listen to Ed, you know, all of these guys. So everything that you could ever want within turntablism is there. It just depends where you want to go with it.
And at this point, I just want to say I'm a little bit pissed off at Ed for not bringing any records to do a turntablist set. So Ed, fuck you. Next time, bro, I'll get you. But yeah, you mentioned the word club, right? Yeah. So what I would like to find out is, how do you think the club DJ has affected the art of DJing turntablism? Because like, there's people that just basically know how to play a record and mix another record with it. But do you see that as
No, you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah,
The
yeah, I
machine
think-
does it for you.
There's selectors as well. You don't even need to mix the record anymore. You can just let it fade out and play the next one as well. Man, like turntablism in a club has always been something that I would probably be quite passionate about, right? Because I like going out and listening to it. I'm going to shout out my man John first because I think he's probably one of the best people I know that does club DJing and turntablism.
Can I throw a name in as well?
Go ahead.
The person that I've always seen rocking a crowd, no matter how many, it could be 5 people in there or 5,000, is DJ Pogo. Never fails to rock a crowd. Never.
Absolute killer. Actually, I'll throw one more name on top of that, which is DJ JFB. Because I've randomly turned up to gigs. Like, he plays festivals. He's out in the clubs all the time. Yeah. He's dragged me along to a gig before as well. And I've never seen someone beat juggle their way through an entire club set. Like, if you go see JFB, you'll see someone rocking a turntablism and club set.
Yeah, he combines the two. He's
real killer.
So how do you feel about the whole, like, the club DJ now?
Club DJing is about sort of just making people dance.
Yeah.
But if that's more for a specific crowd, it's not really like a club scene type thing, I suppose.
Sort of Iron App or whatever.
Oh yeah, all that stuff, obviously, that goes with whatever's going. It's more like a pop culture, isn't it, all that? There doesn't seem to be much room for DJs that have a skill as such in that environment anymore.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Because they're not necessary. That you can just have a famous actor to come and do DJ instead. You just give them the USB stick. And
Are you having a go at Idris Elba here?
Yes, no?
Just wanted
Are you
to
going to
make
bring
sure.
him out now?
I just wanted to make sure. Don't be dissing Idris, you know.
No, but it's like...
If you diss Idris, I will diss you
More like
back.
a Paris thing, isn't
Paris
it, right?
Hilton,
It's
yeah.
a Paris thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Paris, all right. I forgot about that one. Yeah, big difference between the two.
I think one of the Kardashians is as well.
Oh, my God, you're joking. See, I feel like that's disgrace to Armenians, and I'm an Armenian. Oh, my God. But anyway, next question.
Look, I'll talk a bit more about the club scene, right? Which is, again, where, like, these days, like, I'm a little bit younger than Jim. I get out and about.
Everyone is now.
But I've seen especially in the hip hop scene, which is like going to a hip hop club these days. It's pretty difficult, right? Especially what we determine hip hop. I go to you've been in Chip Shop, I'm sure, Chip Shop in Brixton. And when I'm sitting there, I'm like, why is this the only place that I can go to in London? Like, London being the best city in the world, multicultural, people from everywhere, and I'm in a 70. I don't know. It feels like a 70 capacity. It's tiny. It's tiny inside, right? And that's where you'll go and find the realest shit that you can listen to on a Saturday night, in my opinion, right?
And the vibe is always good.
Vibing party, right?
Yeah.
And that's the question. Why is there just one night in London for a small crowd that is vibing? Is clubs a thing anymore? Like, I think the government has shut down like a lot of the nightlife, at least where I live. Like, nightlife is virtually non-existent, whereas before, like maybe 10 years ago, people were piling into the streets. There was that much trouble. Now it's dead.
Let's talk about that as well, like, because at the end of the day, we know like governments have cut funding for a lot of things. For example, I had an interview recently with someone who was talking about how he used to be a youth worker, but they shut down the youth centre, so he had to leave that job and go somewhere else and do something else.
Venues afraid of losing their licenses for playing hip hop because they're worried that they're going to get shut down. It's another problem.
How has all this funding affected the club scene, for example, in where you are? Because you're not in the centre of London.
Well, I live in Brighton, and it's nothing but clubs, restaurants and bars and stuff, so that's the whole thing there. That's all anyone does. And the clubs are still running, and they've got like 24-hour license places and everything, and so there's no.
So it's different for you.
It's a bit different.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, yeah.
Again, where I'm from is a little town out in Greater London. There was a new venue that was opening where we lived, like proper stage, sound system, and when we went to check out the website, it was a singer-songwriter venue. This is in South London. How many singer-songwriters are there, bluegrass, country music lovers in South London? We're all like, what's the point of this venue? Who the hell is it serving? And again, it's that kind of thing.
That's fighting talk.
I'll call them out, but I'm not going to. But we were like absolutely shocked that like where we live, there's no they're putting up a new venue where it's basically no music of black origin. We're absolutely baffled by this shit.
It's not called that, is it?
Like any music of black origin, like country music, singer-songwriter, folk stuff, like that was their music policy. And like, look where you're based. Like, how are you catering to the community when these things are popping up? Like, same with the youth clubs. Like, I went to a youth club.
Money.
Well, we did. I got taught studio production, and that was for me like a foot into making music, and it was all part of that thing. That place doesn't exist anymore. Even the libraries, like they don't exist anymore, and those are very basic things. Like libraries sound place full of books, but I used to go and steal music. I say steal. I used to go get music from them, right? Or it was when you had no money, it was a way of getting exposure to those kind of things. Those public resources don't exist anymore. And like I said, it's so much easier to click than go out and check, meet up with homies. Or these days, if you're on the internet, you don't even click on things that conflict with your own opinion, right? You can't even, can you even face the world when you're in a bubble that of just people that reflect your own opinions back?
Can I just cut in there and say, if the police are watching, he's implicated himself to being a thief. So can you please take him away, put him in jail, and let him be the first person from 521 that goes to jail?
Take my library
himself.
card.
An indicator of how things have changed is back in the, so I'd say, Ed, was it mid to late 90s, the heyday?
Yeah.
Literally mid to sort of late 90s, our full-time job was teaching kids DJing. That's what we were going out and doing every single day.
That?
The funding.
So it all comes back to the funding.
The funding dried up. They say that again. They closed a lot of the environment where you could do that. The youth centres. We were using nightclubs were letting us use their venue. Sports halls, things like that. All of those things lost their funding.
Even the nightclubs, everything.
Yeah.
This is what I was trying to say about when you come to some areas, like, for example, in Kent, like everything's shut at a certain time. And unless they're licensed to be able to drink till 3 o'clock in the morning, people don't really want to go there.
I mean, the thing is, though, social decline obviously is what created hip hop in the first place. There was nothing. It was literally not even houses. There's piles of rubble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
when you think about
if
it,
you think about that, then we've got nothing to worry about because we know how to do good stuff to entertain people because we're in that sort of culture.
you're just going to be performing to yourself, though.
There's no change.
But the funny thing, when there's social decline, right, people lean on each
I'm
other
not
more,
supporting
right?
social decline, mind. I'm just saying that there's a way. If we're talking about about DJing or how all that stuff, the rich people have been ripping people off since day one. So we've got to work our way around that. We know that's going to happen. It might get better sometimes. Like I'd say I had a full-time job doing that thing and DJing or whatever, and then it can go for whatever reason. But at least we have that knowledge of how to make things entertaining in any situation.
And the thing, another thing with that is like we were talking earlier, when you go to a hip hop event, when do you ever see all of the elements?
You don't know anymore.
You don't.
You go Jubilee Hall.
to organise that.
You'll go to a rap jam, or you'll go to a graph jam, or you'll go to like maybe one Jim's community scratch events. You'll go to it'll be pop-in jams, competitions, whatever. It's all been fragmented. Even the dances, you'll go to a jam that'll be purely locking, or purely breaking, or purely popping, or purely roboting. It's not. Hip hop doesn't seem to be a unified thing anymore these days. It's kind of all of the elements have been fragmented, and that's what people go to with regard to what they're into. So I think it needs that kind of bringing back to putting all those elements together when you're putting on events. I
mean, as long as there's big money involved, I don't think it can ever be put back the same way.
Well, that's it. It's up to people to actually make that event happen.
I think the last events that took place that I can remember, apart from the V1 festival in Russia where they do everything, but in this country certainly was Battle Jam, which is where they had the DJing, the drumming, the breaking, the popping, the locking, the graffiti, battles for all of the elements. MCs, beatboxes, everything. And that, for me, I think was the last kind of events that encompassed everything.
I mean, I have to say, I've been quite disappointed so many times when I've gone to events and there's only a handful of people there. Do you know what I mean? But then there's other times you go to events and it's not a DJ or a hip-hop thing necessarily, but it's like there's a big name coming along and, all right, it's rammed or there's enough people and it's fun. But even so, it's like back in the day, say you could bring someone like KRS-One over and you'd fill Brixton Academy. Now you bring KRS-One over, he's doing all these like much smaller events, 500-600 capacities. And, you know, obviously he's a name from the past, so that's not being disrespectful to him. It's just the way the culture has changed.
Was that the B-Boy Championships used to fill the Brixton Academy?
Yeah, so
Had to
where is
move
now?
it from Shepherd's Bush to Brixton Academy. It's at the Forum.
We mentioned off on a phone call recently the word purist. Yeah, and I really wanted to touch on that before the interview finishes, because there are so many people that are into turntablism because of what the DJ actually does, like, you know, the scratching, the cutting, and then when you got your DJ first rates and people like that, they'd put the turntables on their heads and, you know what I mean, scratch with their dicks and whatever else. Do you know what I mean? Well, it's not far off it, was it? Flipping hell, he was pretty much doing it.
Yes, we all do that. Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past first rate to do something like that. Though.
That's
It's
why we
crazy
don't
enough
practice
to-
together.
That's the special move you keep for home, right? That's your 10,000 hours of scratching.
But anyway, the word purist, the reason why I wanted to discuss the word purist is because there's so many of you guys that do the whole turntablist thing with the scratching, like doing different technical skills. You've given so many different names to scratch patterns and stuff like that. Have you actually come up with any scratch pattern names for yourselves?
Oh, I have actually, but I'm nerdy like that.
So what was your scratch pattern name?
I mean, mine's all like full of numbers and names. So
Oh, well, yeah, forget that. Forget that. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there now that are using buttons when they're mixing.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know what your opinion of all of that stuff is.
I haven't got an opinion on it. I just don't use that stuff myself because I like doing things the way I like doing it. If people can utilise new technology in a creative way, then it's really good.
Do you not think that's cheating, though?
It depends what they're doing with it.
Cheating.
Yeah, but it can be. It can be because if you're doing something that before was a skill to do it, and that's why it was good because it was a skill, and it's been replaced by a non-skill, a version of it, then obviously it could be.
Is that any different to, say, for example, having a drum machine and programming a drum beat and then having it looping and then adding a different sound to
Yeah,
it?
no, it's a different thing then, isn't it? I mean, if you're pressing if you're pressing buttons, then you're not. If you're scratching, you're scratching. If you're pressing a button, that's pressing a button, which is fine. If you press the button really well and it's dope, then it's really good. That's why I say it.
So how do you press a button? Well, because there's only one way to press a button, really.
You know what I mean.
What do you do? You kind of slide, you kind of slide in there and just go.
You're just being difficult.
Have to get a bit technical, right?
Like I say, as long as if new technology comes out or whatever technology it is, as long as it's been utilised in a creative way and it sounds really good, then it's all good. There's no rules with being creative, is there?
Do any of you have a pet hate for that?
I don't want to go into that.
I mean, I think a lot of people let themselves down by using buttons when they could be doing something more creative. Yeah.
Name names.
Yeah, go on, name names.
I will name a name. Fuck it, because this person is a world champ. Right. I will name DJ K Swizz because he's a world champion now, and he started off like he's been like number 2 like a lot, and he's a teenager as well, so he's grown up with the technology. And again, I don't know him personally, but what I've seen is his progression. Right, as a young battler coming into the scene. If you look at some of his earlier routines, he relies quite a lot on buttons, and you can see as he's going through his battle career, the frustration that's growing through his battle careers and taking losses, that he's trying to work out why he's been losing battles. I mean, that's what I'm assuming he's doing if I was him.
Assumption is.
I'm saying it's my assumption, right? But what you see is then this growing maturity through his routines of the buttons starting to fade away, the skills coming in a lot stronger, and then the usage of buttons being absolutely essential to the routine rather than a prop that he leans on. And so in a way, maybe like kids that are approaching this that see the button pushing way, they as they start maybe going through the battle scene, start learning how to mix the two technologies together to become a world champion, like K Swizz. So there's definitely a fine line, and there's definitely an evolution to it. I'm going to mention like DJ Mike Brace as well. Mike Brace, another fantastic button pusher, but not a button pusher, just absolute insane skills where he the things that he does with the buttons is things that you just can't do. And just elevates it. It's like having a third arm or something like that. So yeah, I think like to Jim's point, like do whatever you're doing, make it dope. And like you will understand if you want to go down the battle route what becomes dope from like your wins and losses.
Just kind of following on from what Adam said, I can't remember who quoted it, but someone said that the new technology is a tool, and why wouldn't I use a tool to make my job easier? So if you're a club DJ, yeah, okay, cool. Like, you know, I totally get it. Stick your music on a USB stick, whack it in a CDJ, press play. You know, at least do a little bit of mixing or whatever. But if that's making your job easier to do that, then that's cool. But if you're doing it to learn a skill, to be a turntablist, then it's not so cool. You know, because you're ideally learning an art, you're learning a skill, you're trying to get better at something, you're trying to attain a goal with that, and you're never going to be able to do that if, you know, like Adam said, if your routine is reliant on that technology, because you might get to a club one day and they're going to go, right, there's a set of Technics, there's a Vestax PM605. What do you mean you can't do it without a laptop? Why not? You know, that could happen. That scenario presents itself. You know, if you're reliant on that technology, then are you really a DJ if you can't DJ with the most basic tools?
I mean, I'll throw it in there. So, like I did my set earlier, right? And I'm pushing buttons in my set. But the reason I'm doing that is because I'm doing something that I could never have done before without those buttons, right? Like the routine that I just did, I produced it on my computer at home, something you could never have done back in the day. Instead of getting the record pressed, I'm able to whack it straight in Serato. To be honest, the only time I ever use Serato is when I'm doing sample-based routines of my own production. Otherwise, it's pure records. But like without that technology, like the way, like I'd have to be very, like, you know, putting something on wax, you're gonna, like, it's not like a throwaway thing, right? That's something that is like arch plan, right? Like I planned that for a long time and it's going on wax. That's taken a long time. And then what comes out of that, I need to get a lot of value out of. But like with the modern technology, what I can do is whip something up very quickly. I can go straight onto a record. These days I've used Serato as really like a sampler with the turntable as a way of controlling the sampler, right? And then what I'm going to do is layer a turntablism on top of that to show, hey, look, you know, I don't need a sampler here. I can do this all on the decks, and that's kind of an interesting skill. And then I can present like turntablism on top of that. And so in a way, it's like this conversion of ideas of like how can I make the turntables like a sampler. But like Serato, if you're just using Serato to do the same things you would do on records, then that's a waste of time, right? Like Serato was so exciting because it became a sampler for your turntables. And I know a lot of us that when Serato came out, sort of early 2000s, we were mad excited because we were like, finally we can like, I can make a tune and play it in the club like immediately. I don't have to go through that route. I can test crowd reaction instantly. Or if I want to make a turntablist routine where the music's made out of scratching, like I don't have to maybe dig around like 10 million records. What I can do is make my own production instantly on wax and start messing with it. Tell what works. I used to be in a record label called Cut and Paste Records, and one of like we were making scratch records. Having Serato was like so invaluable for the process of bringing things together and testing stuff out before you commit it to wax. Or like again for like just anyone that's like making stuff, like you can make a tune, test it out the next day immediately at a gig or whatever, and like get an instant reaction whether you're going to take that forward or not. So it's about where does that tool sit in like the thing that you're making, and how are you going to use it really, really well so that it adds to like the thing you make at the end, right? Not like I just used it to sit back on the couch and chill.
Manipulate. Any final words from you?
Yeah, comes to the Community Scratch Barbecue in the summer in Brighton, bank holiday weekend. It'll be the 16th one, 16 years pretty much. Been doing this worldwide. Best scratch DJs turn up. Everyone turns up. It's a party. That's it.
How about you, Toze?
Do we get our money now?
No.
What
No.
do you mean no?
Have you got any final words apart from money?
Yeah, like Jim said, go to the community scratch barbecues, seek out local events, look on social media, find some turntablist events, and go and support them.
And yourself?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a Super Scratch Sunday community scratch event sometime in the near future. So hit up the socials, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Look for Super Scratch Sunday. Keep an eye out. Come connect with us. Come cut it up and listen to some badass music.
All right, guys, there you have it. I'm hoping to be able to do these kind of talks more often, so hopefully we can expand deeper, go a lot deeper than we did today. I think we got enough for now, and Toze one keeps harassing me about money, and I'm a bit disappointed the police haven't come to get him yet. Guys, please make sure you follow Toze one, DJ Manipulate, and Kutclass on their social media pages, and make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell to receive the notifications, like, share, and get involved in the conversations below. We'll see you soon. Thanks again for watching. All right, take care. Peace.